There are around 320 million people in the world that talk this rich accent in the United States, but have you ever wondered what that makes American accent different from other regions? What is the history behind or why it is diverse in other regions? Now we are going to answer all these questions and more in this interesting documentary.
First of all, we are going to explain the prominent features of the general American accent. The words with a short A, as in cat, are pronounced with the phonetic letter called schwa. That sounds like For example, cop, run, mom. Some words like men or can't are pronounced like man and can't. American accent uses the rhotic, that means that R is pronounced at the end of the words, like car, mother, father, etc. Words like lot, dog, or rod are pronounced with a long A, as lad, dog, and rat. Some words use the upsilon letter to be pronounced. This letter sounds like U. For example, put, hood, book, also in words like boat or road. There's another way to pronounce the short A, with the phonetic letter called ash, that sounds like ah. For example, family, manage, slang, camera, etc. These are often pronounced much like this. For example, matter, better, 90, etc. Some words and phrases are used to be shortened. For example, gonna for going to, or interesting for interesting.
So, what is the history behind all these rules for American accent? Why they talk like that? Well, the custom of the English language in the US was a result of the British colonization. 13 colonies were established during the 17th and early 18th century in what is now a part of the eastern United States. The American accent has developed into new dialects due to the influence of the British colonizers and immigrants from Germany, Africa, and Holland. In the 18th century, until declaring independence, American and British accent has both a large rhotic, but during the American Revolution, non-rhotic speeches started to being used by Britons. They wanted to distinguish themselves from American people to show their new status.
After independence, the USA expanded and a new wave of immigrants arrived. Each group settled in a specific zone. British rulers introduced their accent in the North Zone. Slaves from West Africa developed the American accent, creating the basis of the African American accent, while immigrants from Germany, Northern, and Eastern Europe introduced new accents and words for the American English. Maybe you are wondering about what is the native people in the historical background of American accent? Well, during the colonization were around 50 language native families. Years later, at least 2/3 of indigenous language had been wiped out, so they didn't affect the American accent.
The United States has different accents in specific regions, but where all of them come from? Now we're going to talk about the main ones. To start, the New English accent, it was the first region to develop its own American accent. Immigrants from the East England settled in the beginning of 17th century. This accent includes the north of New York, the states of Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. A person from these states might say,
"Were you going to plagiarize the whole thing for us? Do you have any thoughts of your own on this matter? Is that your thing? You come into a bar, you read some obscure passage, and then pretend you pawn it off as your own?"
For such a geographically small area, New York City certainly has a bunch of distinctive accents.
The New York accent has a mixture of distinct accents because of the different immigrations from Germany, Ireland, Italy, but in general its roots are from England and Holland. The difference with American accent is that they use non-rhotic accent as the British one. New Yorkers might say,
Movies.
Hey! I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
They're more likely to say,
Deep dish pizza is not only not better than New York pizza, it's not pizza.
The Delaware River Valley accent, it is used in the state state of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and the southwest of New York. These zones were occupied by British, German, and Swedish immigrants. That's why they probably will say,
"We're your regular family. We watch the Phillies on TV. We go down to the Jersey Shore. But when we want great hoagies, discount prices on beer, and a great atmosphere, we go to Lee's Hoagies in Horsham, PA."
The African-American accent immigrant from the West African arrived of the state of Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, and some years later they expanded to some urban zones from New York, such as Brooklyn, and citizens from the zones might say,
"They come over here and get the oysters and clam and go fishing because they're right down the road. They're right in Brunswick or Savannah or Jacksonville."
Much later, a wave of African Americans migrated from the American South to urban centers in the North, mixing their accents together.
Being a kid from New York City, from Brooklyn, and my aunt, God bless her soul, she used to always take me to the Rockettes, the Easter show.
The Appalachian accent. This accent is spoken in states like Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. This accent was influenced by immigrants from the Ulster region of Ireland. I speak from this state might say,
"Now, I am just who I am. I'm not always nice. I choose to be good. I choose to have a good attitude because I want people to know I am a girl of many colors."
The last but not less important Californian accent. This one was also more influenced than other East Coast accent because of the arrival of Chinese, Mexican, and Japanese immigrants to the state of California and part of Nevada. I speak from this state might say.
He woke up the next morning on his actual birthday, and I told him I wanted to take him somewhere to lunch for his birthday.
Or,
what's so powerful about this novel is everyone has their own interpretation of these characters.
What does American accent be different to other English accents? Words like water or better in American accent would sound like water or better. In British accent would sound like water and better. In Australian accent would sound like water and better. Other words like car or hot in American accent would sound like car and hat. In British accent would sound like car and hot. And in Australian would sound like car and hot.
So, to summarize, we have learned that the American English is not only an accent, it's more than that. It's identity and culture that evolve through the time and leaves in evidence all the historical background. This depends on the place and immigration that in the past influenced specific territories. On the other hand, we know that as time goes by, the language is changing. The accent becomes more varied and there are more people who want to communicate, so they are constantly creating new ways to speak. We hope you like it.